For years, I thought I was doing well because I was productive. But underneath the success, I was emotionally exhausted. Hey, Imperfectionists! Welcome back to Imperfect TV Network with me, Gemma Blythe. And today we're going to look at something a little bit different called high functioning trauma and why that can sometimes come across as being overproductive and being a bit of a perfectionist. So, without further ado, grab a drink. Take your time listening to this or watching this, as always, because we're going to delve into what this is actually like. So, what is high functioning trauma? When you've experienced trauma, your body kind of goes into this flight or fight mode, and it can be difficult to get out of that. So, when we're thinking about high functioning trauma, it's trauma that's been there that kind of doesn't leave. It doesn't shift, and it can appear as a bit of a block, causing your body to slow down and your mind to go into overdrive. So, what does this look like? It can seem that you're functioning externally. So, you're meeting deadlines, you're getting all the work done that you mean to get done. But then it can also mean that that comes at the cost of you're emotionally exhausted then, because you're trying to hit this, that, and the other and appear like you're functioning like everybody else. But internally, your body is going, where's the danger? I'm in danger all the time. So you can be hyper aware of your environment, and this can cause you to just not be very present all the time. And so even though you're appearing as though you're hitting all the deadlines, you're getting the work done inside, because your body has been in that fight or flight mode for so long, it's difficult to break out of that. And that's why we do grounding practices and many different things like that to try and break out of that and to try and regulate your nervous system. Because your nervous system, let's be honest, it's shot to pieces. If you are constantly in that flight, fight, fawn, freeze mode, it won't break. So that's what we're talking about. Because after living so long like that, internally you feel like you're collapsing, because it's impossible to be that aware all the time without having that break that your body needs. You need that break. So that's the reason high functioning trauma comes across as being perfectionist, being an overachiever, because you don't do anything else. So how do we get past that? That's what we're going to be talking about today. And the key thing is always to remember, trauma doesn't always make people stop functioning. Sometimes it makes them overfunction. That's what people don't realize. And I really wish that they took the time to realize that a lot more than they do. Life would be so much simpler, right? So why trauma survivors become high achievers? So I'll go through some of the things that trauma can create, and then we'll discuss each. So trauma can create people pleasing, hyperproductivity, fear of failure, fear of disappointing others, and identity through achievement. So we know that our bodies come with a certain trauma response. Either we please the people who inflicted the pain on us because we were blackmailed or emotionally bribed or blackmailed and things like that. It's a really sickening thing, right? And then that causes the nervous system to defend us. So we go into overdrive without even realizing it. When we feel a trauma impact, we either freeze or fawn or fight or run, meaning flight. So the nervous system is a miraculous thing. It kicks in without us even realizing it, just to defend us. But what we don't take into consideration is the fact that, hell, that needs healing too. So that's where a lot of the shame and the guilt comes in, because we don't want to let people down. We'd rather people please and say, yes, I'll do that, even if it means that nobody else will. And it can look like overproductivity because, again, we'd rather people please and appear overproductive than do what inside our body wants us to do, which is sometimes to say, hey, take your foot off the fucking gas and just ease off. So when it comes to all of that, and all of that adds up to a fear of failure, right? Because you don't want to take your foot off the gas. You don't want to appear as though you're letting people down because you don't want to disappoint others. And all of that stems from trauma. And sometimes all your body needs is for you to take the foot off the gas just a little tiny bit, just to give yourself a bit of a break. Because that nervous system inside of you is just screaming right now. So that's where identity can come from, through achievement as well. Because how often have you gone through life and people have remembered you not just because of who you are, but because of what you've done? Okay. It's a challenging one, that. So when it comes to then sitting back and thinking, why do they just remember me for that? What is that? Say you've done a project at work, or I don't know, you're working on a book. What does that mean to you? It means that people are going to remember you not just because of who you are, but because of what you've done. That's what I mean when identity is linked to achievement quite a few times. So let's go through some signs that you're living with high functioning trauma then, shall we? So signs: 1, you feel emotionally exhausted even when you're succeeding. So you can be succeeding at this, that, and the other, but inside you're saying, hang on, I'm drained, I'm exhausted, I'm succeeding, so it's good, yay! No. 2, rest makes you feel guilty. I cannot tell you how true this is, because you feel guilty even for just taking your foot off the gas pedal for 2 seconds, and you struggle to emotionally regulate. You don't know how to think, how to feel, what to say, what to do, because it's all just one big jumbled mess inside your head. And I'm here to tell you that that is absolutely fine. If I had £1 or $1 for how often I felt like that, hey, I'd be rich right now. And you feel empty after achievements because you again tie your worth to your productivity. And even when you do that, you think, did I really achieve that? Is it such a big deal that I achieved that? Should I recognize I achieved that? And hell, you should, because you did it. But you can feel numb after you've achieved something, and that is perfectly normal too. And 6, you don't know how to slow down. Your body and you don't not know how to take your foot off the gas pedal because you've been surviving for so long in the fright or flight mode that your nervous system has just gone, hey, you're going to feel guilty next time you take a break. And then you constantly feel behind. and as though you're lagging behind everybody else. And because of that, you feel like you're letting people down. So I'm just going to run through those 7 again. So we've got 1, you feel emotionally exhausted even when you're succeeding. 2, rest makes you feel guilty. 3, you struggle to emotionally regulate. 4, you tie your self-worth to your productivity. 5, you feel empty after achievements. 6, you don't know how to slow down. 7, you constantly feel behind. And those are all different signs and symptoms and shapes of living with high functioning trauma. So, why the hell does success not heal survival mode? Let's delve in, shall we? And it's largely because the achievements that we have and make and do, they cannot create safety. All we want as people who have been through trauma is safety and connection. And that's partly because of the trauma that we've been through. It's part and parcel of the trauma recovery. And it's also because the nervous system is exhausted of being in that flight or fright mode for so long. So then we realize that the success doesn't regulate the nervous system. And that's what needs to happen here. For the nervous system to come out of the exhaustion, you need to find something that regulates the nervous system. And external validation. So when somebody says, hey, you've done really well with that, it doesn't have any impact on your internal safety. So all it comes down to is this: no amount of achievement can calm a nervous system that never felt safe. So next, how the hell do we heal high functioning trauma? So we know that the nervous system needs to be regulated. That's 1. We know that we need to feel emotionally safe. It's 2. We know that we need to learn to rest without guilt. 3. We need to know how to slow down. That's 4. We need to show ourselves as much compassion as we show others. That's 5. We need to set boundaries, not limits, just boundaries of where we stop saying no at a certain point. And we accept that that's okay to do that. And we redefine what success looks like to us. So let's go through some things that we can do. Set a timer on your phone for 10 minutes out of the day, just 10 minutes to just ground yourself and set some time aside that you know that you won't be disturbed, that you won't feel guilty for doing, because everybody's got 10 minutes, right? Allow yourself time to heal just in those 10 minutes, and you can have a go at these practical healing tools that I've got listed in front of me. So there's grounding practices. Something that I do is I carry a key in my pocket, something that I can hold on to and squeeze, and it just keeps me grounded. And I just practice deep breaths when I do that. You can use a crystal to do that with. You can use even a soft plush keyring, a stress ball, or if you've got access to an outside area. One thing that I love to do is to take my socks off and just walk on the grass barefoot, just to connect with the ground and with nature, and help me to believe that everything is okay, that I am okay, that I am safe. And it's very useful to repeat that. So I am okay, I am safe. Reducing stimulation is another one. So quite often you might get overstimulated by being in certain environments. That is again okay. Just give yourself what I call decompression time. when you get home, or even when you can find just quiet somewhere. Just again to breathe and take in the atmosphere, but not so much that it becomes overstimulating again. And check in with your emotions. This can be so good to do if you carry a journal, because you can do an emotional check-in to make sure that you know what you're thinking, you know what you're feeling, you know how to react in certain situations. And it's also really good to get into a practice of reframing different situations that may have happened, because maybe they're not as bad as you once thought that they were. So journaling, I will never stop recommending. It's lifesaver, honestly. And also allow yourself rest rituals. Just time to close your eyes, think, maybe listen to some soft EMDR music that you can find on YouTube, and just take yourself out of whatever situation is making you feel overstimulated and not as relaxed as you would like to be. And then allow yourself to become aware of what your nervous system is feeling. So if you are feeling anxious, try to identify why and where that feeling is coming from, and try to pinpoint it if you can. That's why I always say, try and pinpoint your triggers and anything that sets out like that danger alarm and warning in your head, because that can be so practical to do. So one thing that I am going to close out with is that you were never lazy. If you took time out, it's because your body needed it. You adapted to survive, and the healing may begin the moment you stop measuring your worth by how much you endure. And if this resonated deeply, I explore these conversations deeper still over on my Living Imperfectly Perfect on Substack page. So I hope to see you over there. And in the meantime, I'm sending you so much healing love, and I will see you soon, Imperfectionist. Much love. Bye.